Right friends, welcome back to News at a Glance for 33rd week. This is from 15th August to 21st August. Union government is reworking the salaries of President, Vice President and Governors in view of 7th Pay Commission recommendations. Please don't forget, India implemented 7th Pay Commission recommendations from 1st January 2016 and arrears are going to be paid by this month end. And as per the 7th Pay Commission recommendations, Cabinet Secretary will get rupees 2.5 lakh per month, secretaries will get rupees 2.25 lakh per month, and the minimum salary is kept as rupees 18,000 per month. And instantly, let us look at the salaries of President, Vice President and Governor. President gets rupees 1.5 lakh per month, Vice President rupees 1.25 lakh per month, Governors rupees 1.10 lakh per month. In view of the implementation of 7th Pay Commission recommendations, government is looking at revising the salaries of President, Vice President and Governors of the states. Bank employees working in specialized areas such as Treasury, risk management and accounting are required to be trained, and RBI categorically stated that the employees working in these areas should obtain requisite certification before April 1, 2018. Reserve Bank of India gave these instructions in view of high non-performing assets. Another important aspect I would like to tell you, banks operations are categorized as retail operations, then wholesale banking, then treasury operations. If you look at retail operations, if you and I are taking small loans, that comes under retail operations. If some big corporate entity is taking loan, that comes under wholesale banking. And the third one is banks will also look at investments. Not only that, banks will undertake money market operations, and all these will come under treasury operations. So, when we are looking at banking operations, please don't forget these three types of classification. One is retail banking, second one is wholesale banking, third one is treasury operations. And as the non-performing assets increased in recent times, Reserve Bank of India categorically stated, please look at the risk management, and the persons associated with dealing risk management and treasury operations shall obtain requisite certification by April 1, 2018. Government is expected to get rupees 23,944 crore from Clean Environment Cess during 2016-17. And here I would like to tell you 2-3 points. One is Government of India changed the name. Previously the name was Clean Energy Cess. From this year it is called Clean Environment Cess. How much? That is rupees 400 per ton imposed on coal, lignite and peat. And what is the purpose of imposing rupees 400 per ton? The main purpose is to promote and finance clean energy projects. Clean energy projects examples you may ask. Examples are wind power, solar power. These are examples of clean energy projects, and this money will be utilized for clean energy projects. And another important aspect I would like to tell you, peat is the poorest at early stage. You cannot technically call it coal. It is in the preliminary stage with the highest moisture content. Leaving peat, there are several varieties in coal. One is lignite, please look into this slide, then bituminous coal, anthracite, graphite. So, if someone talks about the increase in carbon content, the carbon content goes on increasing when one moves from lignite, bituminous coal, anthracite and graphite. Please don't forget this. The carbon content in coal goes on increasing when you go from lignite, bituminous coal, anthracite and graphite. Please don't forget this. And at the same time, please don't forget the clean environment cesses, rupees 400 per ton on peat, coal and lignite. Government is launching ambitious Neel Kranti program. Neel Kranti is Blue Revolution, basically to increase fish production in this country. By 2020, India aims to increase fish production by 50% so as to reach 15 million tons. At the same time, government's aim is also to triple the export earnings to 1 lakh crores of rupees. One important point, if someone asks about the Neel Kranti program, that is to increase the fish production, please don't forget. To execute various digital infrastructure projects to boost connectivity in rural areas, rupees 10,000 crore will be spent during the current financial year from USOF. Rupees 10,000 crore will be spent to expand digital infrastructure projects in rural areas. One pertinent question is, what is the USOF? USOF is Universal Service Obligation Fund, and this is maintained by the Ministry of Communications. So please don't forget. And basically, this is created by levying certain percentage of license fee paid by various telecom operators as universal access levy. So, certain percentage of license fee is collected from telecom operators basically to expand telecom services in rural areas, because telecom operators are least interested in extending telecom services in rural areas. Look into the next one. RBI included factoring transactions under priority sector lending. So, now factoring transactions will also come under priority sector lending. This is most important, basically with an aim to improve cash flows to micro, small and medium enterprises. And you may ask, what is meant by factoring? I have given illustration here. A is the seller. Suppose let us assume A is the seller based in Chennai. He sold some goods to the buyer in Delhi. Buyer B is in Delhi, and he will raise invoice. A seller will raise invoice. Invoice will contain the quantity of goods, the price and all other details. And now third party C will take over this invoice and pay money to the seller, right? So, certain percentage of commission that third party will take. So, this is known as the factoring services. Now, it is the responsibility of third party C to take money from the buyer B. So, it is very clear, if A is selling goods to B, third party C will enter, and by taking that invoice, he will give money to the seller, right? And these type of factoring transactions from now onwards will also be categorized as priority sector lending. Please don't forget. Look at the next issue. Shrey Infra is going to roll out white label ATMs in smaller towns. You may ask, what is meant by white label ATMs? White label ATMs are maintained by third party. Banks are no way connected with white label ATMs. They are owned and operated by non-bank entities. This is very important point. Look at the next one. Supreme Court lifted the ban on registration of high-end diesel cars and SUVs having engine capacity of 2000 cc and above in Delhi and National Capital Region. And here one important point is, Supreme Court imposed 1% of the price of the vehicle as environment protection charge before registration. So, the vehicle manufacturers have to deposit 1% of the price of the vehicle as environment protection charge before registration as per the Supreme Court instructions. So, if you ask high-end vehicles, please look into this slide. Then let us look at the next one. Consumer price index based inflation for July 2016 stood at 6.07%. The biggest worry is the prices of pulses, sugar and vegetables. And another important aspect is Consumer Price Index is released by Central Statistics Office, and RBI's target of inflation is 5% by March 2017, and at the same time government recently given inflation target of 4% plus or minus 2% valid up to March 2021. These things please don't forget. And overall food inflation is 8% as per CPI, right? So food inflation is the worrying factor. Look into the next one. Exports have shrunk by 6.84% in July. Imports shrunk by 19%. Exports shrunk by around 7%. Shrinking in imports is primarily due to reduction in gold imports, a good sign for the country. During April-June quarter, index of industrial production rose by just 0.6%, and index of industrial production or IIP is released by Central Statistics Office, whereas growth of core industries is released by Office of the Economic Advisor. These things please don't forget. And another important aspect is in index of industrial production, mining contributes 14%, manufacturing more than 75%, and electricity around 10%. And out of these three categories, the bright spot is electricity. So if someone talks about index of industrial production, the bifurcation is mining constitutes 14%, manufacturing constitutes more than 75%, and electricity constitutes around 10%. These things are very important, please don't forget. All old magnetic stripe cards will be replaced by EMV cards by 31st December 2018. And you may ask, what is the difference between magnetic stripe cards and EMV cards? Magnetic stripe cards, please look into this slide. They will have magnetic stripe and they are liable for skimming. You may ask, what is meant by skimming? Skimming is copying the information illegally, whereas EMV cards are not liable for skimming. They are with some chip embedded in the card. That's why they are not liable for skimming. That's why Reserve Bank of India has given certain deadlines and certain instructions with regard to EMV cards. All ATMs should accept EMV cards by September 2018. That is one important aspect. And all the old magnetic stripe cards are to be replaced by EMV cards in the country by 31st December 2018. So all ATMs should accept EMV cards by September 18. And second thing, all the magnetic stripe cards are to be replaced by EMV cards by 31st December 2018. That is second important point. And as per the RBI instructions, now all the new cards issued by banks are on EMV platform, and all Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana card holders should come under EMV platform by September 30, 2016. So these are the important instructions given by Reserve Bank of India, and please don't forget, the umbrella organization for retail transactions in the country is NPCI. Please don't forget. Look into the next one. Wholesale price index based inflation reached a 23-month high of 3.55% in July. The previous highest was 3.74% in August 2014. And please don't forget, the progress of 8 core industries as well as wholesale price index are released by Office of the Economic Advisor. This is under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion. And at the same time, the biggest worry is food inflation, which is hovering around 12%. If you look at the wholesale price index based food inflation is concerned, pulses inflation is around 36%, sugar prices increased by 32%, vegetables increased by 28%, potatoes 58%, fruits 17%, whereas there is reduction in onion prices by around 36%. Pension regulator PFRDA reduced the mandatory minimum annual contribution under National Pension System to Rs 1,000 from the present Rs 6,000. At present, the minimum stipulation every year is Rs 6,000, and it is reduced to rupees 1000 per annum. So, if someone talks about regulator for pension funds, that is Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority or PFRDA. Another important aspect is NPS is open to all the citizens of the country. 600 villages in Maharashtra went digital from 15th August. Basically, it is in line with the Digital India concept. Here, public places will have Wi-Fi facilities in villages, and at the same time, most of the schemes meant for villages will be available online. United Nations will issue a stamp to mark the birth centenary of Carnatic music legend Bharat Ratna M.S. Subbulakshmi. M.S. Subbulakshmi was born on 16th September 1916. By 2016, 100 years will be completed. In this connection, a stamp will be issued by United Nations. In this connection, a photo exhibition was also organized. And incidentally, Oscar winner A.R. Rahman gave performance at United Nations General Assembly. He is the second Indian to perform at United Nations General Assembly, and this performance was organized by Permanent Mission of India to the United Nations and Shankar Netralaya. Please look into this slide. He was performing at United Nations in view of Independence Day, and please don't forget, in the year 1966, M.S. Subbulakshmi performed at the United Nations, and in view of completion of centenary of birth, United Nations is going to issue stamp in memory of M.S. Subbulakshmi. India's first facility to produce nickel was launched by Hindustan Copper Limited at its Indian Copper Complex at Ghatshila in Jharkhand. India's first bio-CNG plant was inaugurated at Pune, and from agricultural produce, it produces compressed natural gas. And this was jointly inaugurated by Nitin Gadkari and Manohar Parrikar, Transport and Defence Ministers respectively. Looking to the next one, Manjula Chellur became the Chief Justice of Bombay High Court. She is the second one. If you look at women holding the highest posts of Bombay High Court, the first one was Sujata Manohar in 1994. Famous Tamil poet and two-time National Award winner, famous lyricist Na Muthukumar passed away at the age of 41 in Chennai. Google launched its video calling app Google Duo to take on Apple's FaceTime and Skype. So if someone talks about Google Duo, that is the initiative of Google, that is video calling app. FaceTime belongs to Apple, and all of you are familiar with Skype, which was purchased by Microsoft a few years ago. Former Union Minister Dr. Nazma Heftullah will be the 18th Governor of Manipur, and other governors were also appointed. Please look into this slide. Banwarilal Purohit, the new Governor of Assam. Professor Jagdish Mukhi, Lieutenant Governor, Andaman and Nicobar. VP Singh Badnor will be for Punjab. World's longest and highest glass bridge. This was opened to the visitors in Hunan province of China. It is 430 meters long and 300 meters high. Please look into this slide. This is the world's longest and highest glass bridge opened in China. Melbourne became the world's most livable city for 6th consecutive time. And Melbourne is in Australia. Please look into this slide. Melbourne, Sydney, Canberra, Perth, these are important cities in Australia. And the list was given by the Economist Intelligence Unit. If you look at the top 5, Melbourne in Australia occupies the topmost slot, followed by Vienna in Austria, and next 3 cities are in Canada. They are Vancouver, Toronto and Calgary. Look into the next one. PV Sindhu won silver medal in badminton in Rio Olympics. First woman to get silver medal individually, and she lost to Carolina Marin of Spain by 21-19, 12-21 and 15-21. And please don't forget, PV Sindhu is Arjuna Award winner in 2013 and Padma Shri winner in 2015. Please don't forget. And if you look at other silver medal winners individually, Rajavardhan Singh Rathod won silver for shooting in Athens Olympics 2004 and Vijay Kumar won silver also for shooting in London Olympics 2012. Sushil Kumar won silver for wrestling in 2012 London Olympics. So, PV Sindhu became the first woman to win silver for India individually. Important developments from 2017-18 in Union budget. One thing is railway budget and general budget are most likely to be merged. Second thing is the distinction between plan and non-plan expenditures will go away. SARFAESI Act, all of you are familiar with SARFAESI Act, that is the securitization and reconstruction of financial assets and enforcement of Security Interest Act 2002. This is basically to look at the bad loans of the banks, and banks can sell non-performing assets to asset reconstruction companies, that is as per SARFAESI Act 2002. Now there is a new development. Now SARFAESI Act is extended to cover non-banking financial companies with asset base of Rs 500 crore or above. And I have given examples for non-banking financial companies. And now with this development, SARFAESI Act will be applicable for not only banks, financial institutions, but also non-banking financial companies with asset base of Rs 500 crore or above. Swap ratio was announced by State Bank of India for merger of 3 listed associate banks and Bharatiya Mahila Bank. And I have given the swap ratio. Swap means that is nothing but exchange of shares. That means the shares of one bank will be swapped with the shares of other banks. That is the swapping. Here 5 associate banks of State Bank of India are going to be merged, and here out of 5 associate banks, 2 are completely owned by SBI. Please look into this slide. This is State Bank of Hyderabad, the State Bank of Patiala. These 2 are 100% owned by SBI. So there is no question of swapping or anything. But the 3 listed banks, they have public shareholding. The 3 listed banks in stock exchanges, they are State Bank of Bikaner and Jaipur, State Bank of Travancore, State Bank of Mysore. And here the question of swapping of shares will come into picture. The swapping was announced by State Bank of India. 28 shares of State Bank of India of face value Rs 1 will be given for every 10 shares of State Bank of Bikaner and Jaipur with the face value of Rs 10. At the same time, 22 shares of State Bank of India will be given for every 10 shares of State Bank of Travancore and State Bank of Mysore. And if you look at the Bharatiya Mahila Bank, it is entirely owned by Government of India, and here 4.42 crore shares of SBI will be given for every 100 crore shares of Bharatiya Mahila Bank. And please don't forget these important aspects. Bharatiya Mahila Bank is completely owned by Government of India. State Bank of Hyderabad and State Bank of Patiala are 100% owned by State Bank of India, and these 3 have got public shareholding, that is the State Bank of Bikaner and Jaipur, State Bank of Travancore and State Bank of Mysore, and for which now the State Bank of India announced swap ratio for shares. Look into the next one. Kamal Hassan was honored with the prestigious the Knight of the Order of Arts and Letters. This is given to eminent artists and writers who have contributed to furthering the arts in not only France but also throughout the world. And the previous winners include Satyajit Ray, then Shivaji Ganeshan, Amitabh Bachchan, Aishwarya Rai, Nandita Das, Shah Rukh Khan. Now Kamal Hassan got this coveted award from France. Look into the last one, final medal tally in Olympics. United States of America leading the medals tally with 46 gold, total medals of 121, And second place, if you look at only gold, is Great Britain with 27 gold. If you look at total medals, then it will be China with 70 medals. And India is at 67th place with 1 silver and 1 bronze. Please don't forget. Right friends, with this let us conclude News at a Glance. Have a nice day. Thank you.